Now, modern Hebrew is written without any characters to represent the vowels. And in its origins, Hebrew was written the same way. So how were people able to read without vowels? Well, it's not so hard. Even if you're not from a certain city in New Jersey, you can probably read this as Princeton Junction. And anyone in the world who knows, who can read English characters, can recognize this as New York City. Another city? Of course, it's Jerusalem. Note that context helps, right? Sometimes we could use a little bit of help. What's happening here? All of the consonants in these two forms have been represented, and yet it may take a while to get to where you recognize this as being hanky-panky. Okay? If you're not familiar with the English idiom, it means mild misbehavior. Mild misbehavior, sometimes especially sexual misbehavior. Hanky-panky. Right? I thought when I saw that every single student in the class wrote the same essay for the exam, I thought there was some hanky-panky going on. But if we put if we use a consonant to represent a vowel, as we do in English, it helps us to read it. You know what the vowels are in English: A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. The Y can be used for the consonantal y sound, like in yellow, or it can be used for the long vowel sound E, like in Tommy, Mary, hanky-panky. Suppose a precocious toddler writes you a note that looks like this. Can you read it? Well, let's see what you got. Perhaps the toddler meant, Daddy, I need to go pee-pee. If so, he could have used the Y to represent the long vowel E in order to help to get his point across. That is, not only writing the consonants, but using the consonant Y to represent a long vowel sound. Unless he meant something else. Using the consonant W in a way that we don't normally use it in English to represent the long oo sound, ooh. So too, during the course of the writing of the Hebrew language, scribes began to use three of the consonants: the hey, the yod, and the w, vav, right? Remember, originally w, the vav, to indicate long vowels, long vowels. So hey at the end of a word may indicate not the sound, but the long vowel ah. Now, I'm going to make a preemptive move here. In English, the A with a line over it, you probably learned, if you're a native English speaker, you learned in elementary school that represents the A sound. English is different from every other language that uses Roman characters in that regard. Anywhere else, and in linguistics generally, A with a line over it represents just ah. Right? So I'm afraid you're going to have to make some adjustments in the way that you look at transliterated vowel characters. Not everything will be different, but some things will be different, and this is one thing that is different. So here, shana. shana. The shin represents sh, the noon represents n, but the hey does not represent the h sound, but rather the long vowel ah. Similarly, the E with a line over it in our transliteration system does not represent the sound E, but rather the sound A. A. So here, at the end of this form, mikre, mikre. That is, the scribes have used the hey at the end of a word to represent the long vowel A. Or they might use the hey at the end of a word to represent the long vowel O. Shlomo. Shlomo. Now, just to anticipate, the Bible you're going to read is going to use an additional set of symbols to distinguish between these three different sounds, right? But for the time being, all we're calling your attention to is the fact that sometimes consonants don't represent the consonantal sound, right? Sometimes they're used to represent vowels. Similarly, vav, either in the middle or the end of the word, might indicate not the consonantal sound v or w, but the long o sound, o, as in the word shalom. Shalom. It makes a kind of sense. The w, put your mouth together to make the w sound. Ooh. It's the same shape your mouth makes when you say shalom. Or the oo sound, ooh. Karuv. Karuv. Yod, in the middle or the end of a word, may represent the E sound, as in Beiti. Again, it makes sense because when you make the Y with your mouth, make a Y and hold it. E is the same shape your mouth makes when you say E, Beiti. Note that the I with a line over it here does not represent the sound I, right? Think rather of the I that is written in French-derived words like machine or unique. E with a line over it, again, makes the A sound. So here, the yod in the middle of the word does not represent a consonant, y, but rather the vowel sound A, Beiti. So here in one word, the yod is being used to represent two different long vowels, Beiti. Since Hebrew was originally written without vowels, a form like this, tzadeh, dalet, kof, could turn out to be vocalized in a number of different ways. Tzadik, or tzedek, right, or some unpredictable way. Tzedakah, right, who knows? In fact, tzadeh, dalet, kof can prove to be vocalized in one of any 10 different ways. But that's okay, because in Lesson 2, we will be learning how the Hebrew Bible uses a set of symbols to represent the vowel sounds, to clarify the ambiguity that's inherent in a consonantal writing system. Congratulations. This is the end of your 3-part lesson on the Aleph Beit. Perhaps a short trip to celebrate. Perhaps to McDonald's. McDonald's. Or we could go to Burger King. While there, maybe we'll drink Bira Maccabi. Bira Maccabi. Note the use of yod as a vowel sound in Bira and in Maccabi, and the hey as a vowel sound in Bira. Bira Maccabi. I don't know if they still have Bonkers Bagel. Bonkers Bagel. And I can't remember the last time I saw Bazooka Gum. Congratulations on finishing Lesson 1, and we'll see you again for Lesson 2.